Good evening. We welcome you on behalf of Intersection Records. My name is Derek Moreton. My buddy Ryan has asked me to do a concert review, a belated concert review of Bob Weir and the Wolf Brothers featuring the Wolf Pack. It was a Mardi Gras night show at the Orpheum in Memphis. I gave up concert reviews for Lent, so I'm just getting around to it. If you haven't seen Bob Weir and Wolf Brothers, it started off with Bob Weir and Don Was on bass, who's president of Blue Note Records, the fabled jazz record label. Jay Lang, longtime drummer, contributor to a variety of projects that Bob Weir has been involved with. They eventually added pianist Jeff Chimenti, who has also been around Bob Weir for forever, currently with Dead & Co. And then eventually they expanded it to the Wolf Pack, which included a string and brass quartet, probably some woodwinds in there, Barry Sless on pedal steel. So it kind of opens up the catalog to just kind of different versions of the Dead songbook. It was pretty interesting to hear with a two piece. I guess Bob and Phil kind of went around a little bit as a two piece. Then they expanded it to the Wolf Brothers and they added Jeff Chimenti and the Wolf Pack. So you kind of get some different versions, different appreciations of versions of the tune. So it's very interesting to see. I saw the Memphis show last year. Last year we were up close. We were able to see the band, and this time we were closer to the soundboard. My buddy Rob would prefer to hear it better than being up close and to see their interaction to the band. What do you think? What's your favorite spot? We always have this discussion. I'm a GA guy. I like to be up front watching the interaction between the band. My friends like to be by the soundboard, getting the sound, hearing it a lot better. What do you like? Leave your message in the comments below. For these Dead shows and all the jam band shows that I like to see, it's a game to me. I try to kind of pick my set list, based on geography, location, dates, holidays. I mean, these bands are playful and they will contribute to that. Sometimes you think it may be a stretch. Sometimes I don't think so. So the stuff that we had to play with on my bingo card, really, we're dealing with Memphis, we're dealing with Tennessee. We've got the river. We've got Elvis. They played Elvis's Jailhouse Rock for the first time. Did not expect that. So they throw you some curveballs. You go in expecting something, and they'll throw a curveball and give you something else that was still, relevant and applicable. This year's bingo card, I had Ico. I was thinking of all the Mardi Gras stuff. Big River mentions New Orleans, also mentions Memphis. Peggy O mentions Louisiana. Promised Land mentions Mississippi, just south of Memphis, mentions New Orleans and Louisiana. Desolation Row was on my list, mentions going to the carnival. So how'd I do? How'd I do? So they opened the set with a jam, like Rat Dog would often do. And I like that part. What are they going into? They're jamming. It could be a variety of things. Turned out to be Hell in a Bucket. I think a Mardi Gras reference. You got a religious holiday. You got hell in a bucket. It's got the line when the snakes come marching in. A New Orleans Saints, New Orleans reference, I think. Pretty good. It was actually a decent pace song. The whole show I thought was slow, and they get that knock. Slow and Co. This is not a knock on them. Again, they do it, I think, to open it up, to slow things down, give them room to breathe, give them room to jam, and it's fun. It's a little different, but for some people, it is a little slow. But Hell in the Bucket was not that slow. Uh, Queen Jane Approximately was next. The Bob Dylan cover didn't get the one I expected, but this is still, I think, a Mardi Gras reference. Queen Jane, Queen of Mardi Gras. They also have a line in there. When all your advisors heave their plastic at your feet. Again, maybe a reference to throwing beads and doubloons, etc. After that, they do a slow Big River. Maybe a hat tip to neighboring Arkansas, birthplace of Johnny Cash, Kingsland, Arkansas. They got the line, well, I followed her down to Memphis, but she just walked off the bluff. And then at the end, take that woman down to New Orleans, New Orleans. So another New Orleans reference there. They played it last year in Memphis, so that was, I think, our first repeat. Next song, another tip to Mardi Gras, perhaps. Ashes and Glass. Ash Wednesday would be Wednesday. This time they've got Daniel Donato coming out with them. So he's a young guitarist based out of Nashville. He says Bob Weir is his favorite guitarist, so that's his hero. So he was able to play with him on about 7 tunes today, or on this show. So Ashes and Glass, I like that song. It's very nice. But what was even better was when they went into Don't Let Go. one of my favorite Jerry Band tunes. So I really enjoyed that. And again, is this a reference to a Memphis reference or Elvis reference? Ron Tutt was a drummer for Jerry Garcia, also played with Elvis. Is that a stretch? I don't know. You decide. They also did a little Eleanor Rigby tease in there, which Jerry would do in a variety of his tunes. I think after midnight he would do that. So they did some Eleanor Rigby. The horns had a little Eleanor Rigby tease. They also did the next night in Asheville, but during Viola Lee Blues. So interesting how they can kind of mix that up. Don't Let Go was a Roy Hamilton cover. They went from Don't Let Go, boom, nice transition, back into Ashes and Glass. Very cool. Enjoyed that. Daniel Donato is still on stage. He's known for an album called Cosmic Country and Western Songs. He considers his style cosmic country, which kind of opens it up for me to songs like this. I was thinking we're going to get some of the Cowboy Bob tunes, and we do. El Paso. I was thinking maybe Jack Straw, maybe Me, My Uncle, Mexicali Blues, Mama Tried could have been on the table. But they just did El Paso, a good Marty Robbins cover. Then they do Candyman, another Memphis reference. When I come back from Memphis, when I come in from Memphis, where I learn to talk the jive, when I get back to Memphis, there'll be one less man alive. So another crowd favorite when you mention the town that you're in. So I always like a good Candyman. Close out the first set with a surprise Hound Dog, Elvis tune. Made famous by Elvis. There was a big controversy about it. Big Mama Thornton covered it and maybe accused Elvis of being a white guy ripping off African Americans. When it's pretty interesting that actually a couple of Jewish guys, Jerry Liebler and Mike Stoller, wrote this song. But initially, nobody got credit. There was some sort of mix-up. Big Mama Thornton didn't get credit. Liebler and Stoller did not get credit for that. I don't think they got paid for it. I think they figured that out. And then Elvis, when they did it for Elvis, they did get credit for it. That, too, had Daniel Donato on it. Second set opener. I thought they would open the first set with this, Iko. So good Mardi Gras reference, New Orleans reference. Lights were green and purple and yellow, Mardi Gras colors. Then they go into Bombs Away, good Bob song. Look out, Bobby's in love again. Great falsetto. I like the song. Lots of room to jam. The horse sounded good. At the end, it was like it reminded me of Wilco's Impossible Germany, where everybody's playing and kind of crossing over each other with the horns and Chimenti. Oh, he's the best. Really keeps this thing together. Also, the steel guitar player really showed out, but Chimenti just kind of keeps this thing tight. Really showed out. I thought, the whole show. From there, we go to Greatest Story Ever Told, another religious song, religious reference to the story of Jesus. So keeping in that Mardi Gras theme, if you will. From there, they go into Dark Star, which was long, slow, lost some people. I'm a big Dark Star fan, but I admit I think I did take a bathroom break here. It was a bit slow, and they did this last year, but last year's may have been the highlight of the show. Get this, Dark Star into Eyes, into Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, back into Eyes, back into Dark Star. I mean, it's really hard to beat that. You can kind of hear part of that in Live in Colorado, Volume 2, where they do Eyes into Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. So they actually have an album released there. So you can check that out. You can also get these shows on nugs.net. I've been saying, how slow I thought the show was in person, but when I re-listened to it on my soundboard Nugs copy, it sounded pretty good and a little faster than I remembered. Dark Star also featured Daniel Donato. China Cat Sunflower featuring Daniel Donato again. It was slow again, but the horns added a little something to make it a little different. China writer, China's often into I Know You Writer, which is no surprise, and they did it here again with Daniel Donato on it. I Know You Writer, it's a great song, one of my favorites as well. New Speedway Boogie, great song. They did a good version of it. After that was Black Peter. Again, slowed it down significantly. It's a slow song to begin with. It was even slower. And you got a 11 and a half minute version of a slow Black Peter. So not my favorite, but they picked it up again with one of my favorites, Going Down the Road, Feeling Bad, a traditional tune. And that's one thing I like about the Dead, that they do Marty Robbins, traditional, they've expanded my musical horizons, covering jazz, covering, all sorts of stuff, making me do a deep dive, going into blues, going into all sorts of things. I mean, they're truly Americana, which is why I think they've lasted so long and will continue to last. I mean, you got band members dying, even as they die, people are still picking up the slack with doing tributes to the Dead and playing Dead songs, and this will continue long after they're gone. I think just because that traditional music that they do, the Americana that they're so entrenched in. Encore was U.S. Blues featuring Daniel Donato again. So again, he plays on 7 songs, U.S. Blues, pretty good show. Overall, pretty good show. Better upon second listen. My buddy Rob disagrees. He thought this show was even better than the Memphis show last year. I think you should listen to both. Check them out. Let me know what you think. I'm signing off. I'll see you next time.